What's up, everybody? Got a video to make. I got a few videos here to make. Number one I'm going to start with is why wheat is bad. Like flour, bread, crackers, cookies. Apart from the other ingredients that are mixed in with the wheat by itself is pretty bad. So I'll try to make this quick, and I'm going to link to some more in-depth information because I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy, not even a doctor. But I do know more about nutrition than most doctors, so I'm just trying to enlighten the populace here as well as I can, and point you in the right direction. So I'm going to do a very quick summary, but if you want to know a lot more, to go to the videos that I link, and you'll learn a lot more. But basically, why wheat is bad. Number one, gluten. I used to eat pure gluten when I was vegan. One of the stupidest things I ever did. And they make this stuff called seitan. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's pure wheat gluten. And I would never be more depressed than the days after I ate seitan. It was terrible. But I was craving meat, and I just needed that chewy texture, But anyway, my point is that it causes depression. And if you're depressed and you're taking pills, this is not medical advice. I don't know if you should get off the pills or how quickly you should get off of them or whatever, but you might want to consider that there's a cause for your depression that is other than the general sadness of the world. Because actually, when I was vegan and I was depressed, I thought I was depressed because I knew about what was happening to the animals in the factory farms. And these dogs are distracting me. Speaking of animals, so back to animals. Yeah, I thought I was depressed because I found out how terribly animals are treated. And then, after 4 years of not eating meat, I ate some meat, and my depression disappeared. And I know that's different. That's not exactly the same thing as what's happening with wheat. But even these days, when I eat wheat, I get depressed. Usually around the same time the next day. It's not immediate, but it's pretty fast, I guess. And it only lasts for like a day, but I think that's because I don't eat it very often. I think if I was chronically eating it, I would be chronically depressed. And there's two modes of thinking when it comes to medicine, or when it comes to health and nutrition, wellness, whatever you want to call it. There's really two ways you can think about a problem. What do I add, or what do I subtract to fix this problem? And a lot of people, whether it's because they don't want to take responsibility, or it's too hard, or they want an easy solution, a lot of people will add something instead of taking away what's causing the problem. So for example, this is an exaggerated example, but it's essentially what everyone is doing. Imagine someone who constantly bangs their head against the wall. They're going all the time, banging their head against the wall, and then they're complaining about the headaches. Well, there's two things that you could do, and I think it should be obvious which one's better. You could prescribe them some painkiller, and that would stop the pain, but it wouldn't get to the cause of the pain. And you could also tell them to stop banging their head against the wall, and that's a much wiser methodology. So that's what I would recommend. And a lot of people have never considered that maybe something that they're eating is causing their depression, and it's not just their shitty life. Because yes, life is shitty, and it can be depressing, but even if you were going to still be depressed afterward, after giving up wheat, maybe you would be a lot less depressed, less often, less intensely, whatever. So, food for thought. Maybe give up wheat, and not just for depression, also maybe for intestinal purposes and for nutrition. Like, well, okay, let's get to the next thing. Phytic acid. I would show this stuff on the screen, but you really cannot read my handwriting. Sometimes my handwriting is nice when I take my time. Anyway, phytic acid. Phytic acid is something that is found in seeds, but it's particularly dense or particularly concentrated in wheat. Wheat has a lot of phytic acid. And what phytic acid is basically a mineral magnet. It binds to the minerals in your body and it keeps you from absorbing them. So not only do you have the gluten inflaming your brain, that's pretty much how it makes you depressed. It could be other things too. It could have to do with serotonin. But anyway, apart from that, there's lack of nutrients. There could be some nutrient that keeps you happy, helps to keep you happy, and you're losing it. And even if, forget happiness for a second, let's just think about the body needs minerals. If you have tooth problems, giving up wheat will definitely help. Giving up plants in general, but wheat is special when it comes to the phytic acid concentration. And that's why basically the populations, if you want to read a really interesting book about this subject, you should read Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, because that covers a bunch of different indigenous populations all around the world and what they eat and what they don't eat. And basically, and it was written by a dentist. So this guy was traveling the world, investigating diets, and counting cavities, basically studying general dental arch formation and dental health. And basically the people who don't eat any wheat have the best teeth. The people who only eat animal products have the best teeth. If you want more details, because there's a lot of variety within the diets. Some have some plants, some have more, some have less, some have vegetable oil, some don't. So, but the general, if I could sum up, this long book in a couple of sentences or a couple of words, less plants good, more plants bad, especially when it comes to dental health. But wheat is public enemy number one for dental health, in my opinion. There's another thing called a lectin, which can interfere with your digestion, with your the intestinal barrier, basically. There's a lot of lectins in beans, and there's a specific lectin in wheat called wheat germ agglutinin, and it basically has more or less the same effects as the lectins in beans. And I should probably do a separate video about beans and why beans are bad, but it's because of lectins. And there's already a really awesome talk about that by Paul Mason, so I'm not going to try to really shed any new light on it, but I'm just trying to point in the right direction. I'm a generalist, like I'm not an expert in anything. I'm an expert in some things, but most of the things I talk about, I'm going to point you to the experts. That's kind of my strategy. But also make my own summaries and impart my own philosophical tint to things, because I feel like a lot of nutrition talks, and these people are not talking about philosophy really. They're just talking about science, which is fine, but the context of a good philosophy that a good philosophy can provide as to why you should even care about all this stuff is kind of important. I'll do that in another video. I'm going to call it Nutrition and Divinity. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, kind of going back to the phytic acid thing and minerals. Wheat is a seed. Seeds want to grow. And in order to grow, when you put them in the soil, when they germinate, they start to absorb minerals. That's the name of the game as a plant, as a seed, to absorb minerals. And when you put a seed into your body doesn't know that you're not using. Your body doesn't know that it's a seed, or the seed doesn't know it's in a body. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. I was a little distracted because I'm trying to make sure my sound levels aren't crackling. So what I meant to say was, seeds don't know when they're in a body. They don't act any differently when you eat them as opposed to when you put them in the ground. They're still trying to germinate. They're still trying to absorb minerals. And that's exactly what they're doing, preventing you from absorbing them yourself. You're screwing yourself. You're competing with yourself. You're putting something that's competing with you into yourself. And you're not going to you're going to lose. All right. Oh, okay. Last thing concerning wheat for now. Glyphosate. Glyphosate has been proven to cause cancer. I can't remember who makes it, but they had to pay a big lawsuit for causing cancer. They use glyphosate not only as an herbicide, as like a weed killer around wheat, but they also use it as a desiccant to dry out the wheat. So it would be one thing if you could find, like, obviously organic anything is better than non-organic generally. And if you got organic wheat, yes, it would be better. It would not have the glyphosate, supposedly, hopefully, but even then it's still poison. It's just more poisonous. Most wheat is extra poisonous these days because of glyphosate. And glyphosate completely wreaks havoc on your gut flora. So you don't want that. So that's pretty much everything as far as, oh, I thought it was like 20 minutes. It's like 12, 13. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for wheat. Don't eat it. I know it's good. I know it's delicious. You know, cutting down 90%. If you can't do 100%, 90 is still amazing. You know, it's still going to make a huge difference. 50% might help. I don't know, but anyway, in case you're wondering where I am, I'm in Mexico City. This is Parque Mexico, and well, let's just say that sometimes there are distractions. But I like the backdrop. I like the aura, the ambiance. It's better than sitting in my room, even though I like my room. Okay, so wheat is not something you should eat. Thank you. I'm a very talented rapper. I'm really bad at ending videos. It's over. You can go away. It's over. I always feel like at the end of a video I have something more to add, but I think I'm done with this one. All right. Peace.